What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the battle for Week 5 of the BNR, and this week we are up against Eoin and his Leinster Latias. And before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button as it helps us out a lot, and let's do more cool stuff for you guys. But anyway, on to the team. Actually, one more thing. You might notice that I've made a few changes going into this week. I wanted to make a video about the changes and why I made them last week, but let's be real, I'm actually super lazy. So TLDR, what ended up happening was I realized that Araquanid was not really, just didn't work overly well on the team because Mawile, which was the main thing that I was bringing Araquanid for, just wasn't fast enough to even take full advantage of Sticky Web. I mean, I think base 100s still outsped, like Jolly base 100s would still outspeed. It was something just like, really? That's all that Mega Mawile can outspeed under Sticky Web? And also, I wasn't bringing Araquanid really much at all apart from week 1. So I was thinking of, okay, let's kind of make some changes. Also, I had my eye on Conkeldurr as another potential Trick Room breaker, because it would give me some more priority, and also Conkeldurr's a mon that I've been wanting to try in the draft format for a while, and because I already had a Trick Room based team, I was like, screw it, let's see what we can do. And also I wanted to get another Trick Room setter so that Porygon 2 and Victini weren't completely just like kind of forced into those roles every week. So I dropped Araquanid, Aerodactyl, and this paint, Gothorita, Aerodactyl, Araquanid, Gothorita, and then this really hurt me to do, but I dropped Swampert because I ended up picking up Conkeldurr, Jellicent, and Lycanroc Day because it gives me more priority, still gives me a rocker in Lycanroc, and Jellicent gives me another Trick Room option as well as a Ghost type. So it hurt dropping Swampert because, I mean, that mon is basically, besides Tapu Koko, my favorite mon in the draft format, and might be the mon that I've used. Actually, I think it is the mon that I've used the most in the entire draft, but, I mean, this is about trying new things, new experiences, so I was like, I guess I gotta do it. But either way, I now have Conkeldurr, Jellicent, and Lycanroc Day, and I'm very excited to use those, particularly Conkeldurr, as that thing is stupid strong with the relative buff to Guts attackers because of the halved damage of Burn now. I'm like, okay, Conkeldurr, let's do this thing. So yeah, that's going to be the changes to the team that are effective this week. And also, just letting you guys know, I was really having trouble pronouncing the way that Eoin pronounces his name. Like, even in Call with Jolt, I had been calling him Eon, I think, for the longest time, because, I mean, Eon, just ignore the I, and I thought it was like Leinster or Leinster Latias, and because the Irish are evidently too drunk to even know how to pronounce things, instead of calling him Eoin, because I refuse to acknowledge that Eoin is pronounced Owen, or that Leinster is pronounced or is spelled Lein, he is now going to be called Guinness, and he is the coach of the Lucky Charms Latias. So that is now going to be what I will refer to him and his team as for the rest of this video. And by the way, I'm also Irish, so I'm allowed to say this stuff. So yeah, we are against Guinness and his Lucky Charms Latias, and his team is composed of Megalop, Zeraora, Serperior, Klefki, Necrozma, Alomomola, Umbreon, Donphan, Salamence, and Poliwrath, with Zeraora and Salamence being his Z users. So once again, we have to face two ridiculous Z users in a week, so it's like, crap. And also, one thing I've noticed, Guinness loves having Megalop and Zeraora. I think in, like, I don't know how many other leagues I've seen that he has Zeraora and Latias, or not Latias, Zeraora and Megalop, so I'm just like, well, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and he's doing very well. He is the only undefeated coach left in the league, so we're going to try to knock him off this week. And yeah, his team is very scary, but I do think there are certain aspects of his team that I will be able to exploit, particularly his relative weakness to Trick Room, but at the same time he has some mons that are super annoying, so we're going to have to play around those as best as we can. So first mon that I'm bringing, I'm attempting to use a Z move. Well, I'm hopefully using a Z move for the first time this season. I've brought Persian with Z moves, I have yet to click it, and so Latios will probably be the first Z move user that I have all season, and this is going to be a defensive Ghostium Z Latios with Draco, Shadow Ball, Roost, and Defog. Now, against his team, Two things that are really annoying for me are going to be Klefki and Necrozma. Like, those things just inherently are issues for me, and the better I can deal with them and the sooner I can get them weakened or even just out of the way, the higher my chances of winning the game. And so this Latios is designed to try to weaken those things down, and in conjunction with the Nidoqueen that I have, I will hopefully be able to do so. Draco is just super spammable against his team once Klefki goes down and is a nice, just big damage. Just be able to throw damage out there, something's going to get hit by a Draco Meteor and they are not going to like it. Shadow Ball covers Klefki and Necrozma, and even though it's not going to do a whole lot to Klefki, I think it's going to do like 20% because I have no investment. Klefki can very easily run a Spadef nature. Then, I mean, it's still chip. And if I can knock that thing's lefties off, I do have 2 knockoff users on my team. I should be able to wait. Does Mawile have knockoff? Yeah, it does. With the 2 knockoff users that I have on my team, if I can get rid of that thing's lefties, then any damage on that thing will be here to stay. And then the Ghostium is just to be able to pick off Necrozma, because I will have to rely on whittling that thing with Toxic Spikes, spoilers, and just neutral hits, or just neutral hits from Shadow Ball. So yeah, that's going to be the Latios, and also I need a defensive mon because nothing on my team likes switching into Necrozma. Because I mean, like, Heat Wave, knockoff, Photon Geyser, knockoff, Photon Geyser. Like, he can run a set very easily that covers my entire team. Latios is going to be my best way of taking that thing on, of just being a switch into Necrozma, can't get knocked off. Knockoff is going to be doing jack all, even if he goes for like a... Well, if he goes for a Swords Dance, it's obviously going to be doing a lot more, and if he's going to be an attacking nature, then it's going to do a lot more. But if he's just like a bulky Necrozma, then knockoff is not going to be doing a whole lot, and I can go for Ghostium Z to pick him off when he's lower. The speed on my Latios is enough for Salamence. The HP and defense is to maximize overall bulk while being able to take +2 Jolly Necrozma's knockoff after rocks. I mean, this Latios is insanely bulky, and then I threw just what was remaining into my special attack. Oops, it kicked me off, must have lost internet. And yeah, that's the Latios. This was the most intricate mon on the team, and I'm hoping that it's able to come through in this game. Next up, we have a Stealth Rock defensive Mega Mawile. Surprise, surprise, I'm bringing defensive Mega Mawile once again with Stealth Rock, Play Rough, Knockoff, and Fire Fang. That just covers his team nicely, hits nice and hard while also being able to check his threats like Megalop, Zero Aura, Salamence. Just his physical threats are not too big of an issue for Maw, and once Alomomola is gone, or Donphan's gone, or like Klefki, just basically Mega Maw, once his defensive mon is gone, just picks up KOs whenever it's able to come in. Additionally, Mega Maw is kind of my like pseudo switch in to Zeraora and Megalop. I would prefer not to have to, but if I do have to, then Mega Mawile with its physical bulk will still be able to take those hits very well. Play Rough, Knockoff, and Fire Fang cover his team very well. The defense is enough to live 2 Jolly Life Orb Plasma Fists from Zeraora without Intimidate. I really didn't need to hit that specific number, and I don't necessarily think that's going to come up, as Zeraora is more than likely going to be Adamant, but it was still just kind of like well, I'm around that anyway, I might as well just go ahead and hit that benchmark. Next up is going to be a Trick Room Victini with V-Create, Trick Room, HP Ice, and Bolt Strike. Just, yeah, this thing goes in against him. V-Create just destroys lives, takes souls, whatever you want to say, and then HP Ice is for the one thing that can take those hits relatively well, and that is going to be Salamence. Now, admittedly, Alomomola can, Necrozma to an extent can if it's defensive, but I mean, Necrozma has to run like 5 different sets all at once to appropriately take on everything that I have on my team. So yeah, Victini, along with Mega Maw under Trick Room, should be able to put in the work. The investment is just a very straightforward mixed Trick Room set. Next up is going to be my Nidoqueen with Toxic Spikes, Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Fire Blast. He has no Toxic Spikes absorbers, so I need to get these things up ASAP, as they will be crucial in dealing with Necrozma, who's going to be a huge, huge issue otherwise. Like a Calm Mind Necrozma is going to be a big issue. I mean, even like a Swords Dance set could be, but Calm Mind is going to be the biggest issue for me, and whether he has sub or knockoff or what type of coverage he has, I will have to scout that out early. Toxic Spikes along with the along with the bulk in Latios, should be able to take that thing down, and the sooner I can get my toxic spikes up, the better the game will go overall for me. And also getting like a toxic on like Zero Aura, Lop, Superior, Alomomola, just anything on his team will be very, very nice. And this Nidoqueen is my Lopunny switch in, as with the investment that I have and the Citrus Berry, I'm able to avoid a 2-hit KO from Adamant Lop's return after rocks, and the speed creeping is for creeping Necrozma, creeping an Adamant Mawile, so just be able to hit a good number and be able to hopefully take advantage of that and exploit his attempt to get a little bit of extra bulk. Next up is going to be a Spadef P2 with Recover, Trick Room, Toxic, and Tri-Attack. He has no Ghosts, and Klefki is his only normal resist, so I'm hoping to exploit that as well with a lot of HP and just a whole lot of Spadef. Basically, this is my answer to Superior, who is a big issue for my team as well. I've been talking for way too long. Will warn you, I talk for a whole heck of a long time in my game against Volume that's coming out later this week too, so yeah, be prepared for that. The Spadef is enough to avoid a 2-hit KO from Timid, Life Orb, Superior, and the defense is enough to avoid an OHKO from Adamant, Zero Aura's all-out pummeling, which is kind of scary that Porygon 2 just needs only a tiny bit of investment to live that. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous in my opinion. But yeah, Porygon 2, Tri-Attack, and Toxic. Toxic is mainly for wearing down the Necrozma so that it's not able to just boost up and sweep me. I mean, that's really what it came down to. I mean, Necrozma is such a threat that I needed to have Toxic on P2 instead of another move that I would have liked to have. And finally, we have my second Trick Room Sweeper, and also just a really hard hitter once I'm able to get my Flame Orb up, and that is a knockoff Mach Punch, Facade, Drain Punch, Conkeldurr with Guts and the Flame Orb. I alluded to this earlier. This thing hits like a truck. I mean, the EVs, while it just looks like a standard Trick Room Sweeper, because, I mean, let's be real, it is, Mach Punch to an uninvested Lopunny is an OHKO. Like, straight up with rocks, it is a guaranteed one-hit KO with Mach Punch. I mean, that is absolutely absurd. This thing spams knockoff against his team so well. It can even take on a Alomomola, because even though I only do about like 35% with a Guts boosted Drain Punch, well, because of Alomomola's HP, I'm going to be recovering that back up, and I can just spam Drain Punch, knock off Facade over and over while he wishes up, and I'm able to recover HP with Drain Punch. So yeah, I will win that exchange, and Conkeldurr is just a massive threat against him that I'm looking forward to having the chance to use. So yeah, that is the team, and let's just go ahead and hop right on over to the battle. Alrighty, here we are in the game, and the first thing I'm noticing is that he did not bring the Zero Aura or the Salamence, so there is going to be not a single Z-move from his side this game, so that is, I mean, that's reassuring, but at the same time, what he brought is going to be very annoying. Of course, he brought the core of Necrozma and Klefki, as those two just really give my team a tough time, but if I play my Latios correctly, I should be able to deal with those accordingly. Megalop is less of an issue because I have the Nidoqueen, and Serp, of course, will be taken care of, hopefully, by my combination of Victini and Porygon 2, but given the fact that Zero Aura is not here, that means that Mega Mawile can also help out Nidoqueen in taking on the Megalop, so that is something to think about. But either way, Klefki and Necrozma are going to be insanely annoying for me to deal with. I'm thinking that if he looks at my team, he'll think that Necrozma is a relatively perfect lead, all things considered, because it takes on, I mean, it can Heat Wave Maw, it can Photon Geyser, Dark Pulse, it can potentially knock off, it can Photon Geyser, and it can even Dark Pulse knock off my Latios. So basically, Necrozma seems like a very free lead for him, no matter what. So I'm going to try to counter lead that with my Latios, just so I can get off Shadow Ball damage, figure out what type of set this is, and go from there. He does end up leading off with the Necrozma, as I thought, and I am just going to fire off a Shadow Ball, gauge the damage. That reveals that he is a max HP variant, as he's going to go for the Dark Pulse, and that damage shows me that he is not... He has little to no investment in his special attack, so I'm like, okay, this is going to be a bulky Necrozma. I'm just going to try to wear that thing down with more Shadow Balls, maybe get him in a range where I can knock him out with a never-ending Nightmare, just get into a situation where I think he'll stay in and I can knock him out. Unfortunately, I get the Spadef drop, as I was kind of like, okay, well, crap, I was really hoping to, like, if he was at 80%, I would Shadow Ball once again to get him at like 50, and then maybe he would spend that turn either attacking or going for rocks, which would give me a free opportunity to fire off my Z-move and potentially knock him out. but because I get the Spadef drop, he is inclined to switch out into his Klefki. So in that situation, the Spadef drop was actually kind of unfortunate for me, as I think that maybe I might have been able to come out ahead in that situation. But now I'm going to go into my Nidoqueen as he brings in the Klefki. Nidoqueen's a free switch. I'll be able to see what type of Klefki this is as he goes for spikes and he goes for dual screens. Now, Latios is specifically designed to deal with the combination of Klefki plus Necrozma, just be able to defog away those dual screens and be able to do that reliably because of the insane amount of bulk I have, and then wear both of them down pretty easily. As soon as I saw that Klefki did not have leftovers, I immediately thought that this was dual screens. I mean, Guinness loves his dual screens Klefki, and so as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this is going to be something I have to deal with, but I didn't want to take like a T-Wave. I wanted to scout out his set a little more before I freely left in Latios against Klefki just to take the fairy move. And yeah, I mean, Nidoqueen's in, able to get up a T-Spike as he gets up a light screen, and now I'm just going to fire off an Earth Power just to see what he wants to go into as he goes into his Donphan. I'm like, okay, cool. Figure out what type of Donphan this is. That reveals that he is max HP, but I don't think that he has much Spadef. I mean, he might have a little bit, but given that damage, it looked like he was just a max HP variant and I got a low roll, or he could have a decent chunk of Spadef in there as well. But yeah, with my Nidoqueen in, I'm thinking, okay, Donphan has a very free turn right now to either Rapid Spin, go for an Earthquake, go for a knockoff, and I'm kind of in a weird situation right now. I'm thinking that, okay, if I go into Conk and get my... if I go into Conk Elder, I can easily take an Earthquake, and then I can potentially Drain Punch back, knock out the Donphan, we're in a good situation. If I go into my Latios, but if I go into Conk as he knocks off, then, well, my Flame Orb's gone, and... yeah, Conk Elder hits significantly less hard, and I do really need that Flame Orb in this game. So I'm in a tricky situation. I wanted to go Mawile to predict the knockoff, but the fact that he could potentially Earthquake, or the fact that he was likely, or he had the potential to just Rapid Spin, as, I mean, look at how much Toxic Spike does to his team. I mean, it really neuters a low Momola, Necrozma, Lopunny, Superior, like... T-Spike does so much against him that I decide to go into my Latios thinking I can take whatever hit this Donphan wants to go for, and this was a very, very stupid play because, I mean, it was very obvious that he was going to go for the knockoff. I mean, he had no true incentive to click Earthquake in that situation because, I mean, he's still behind a light screen. Even if he does misguess and I go for like an Ice Beam or something like that, okay, well, Donphan takes like 25% from my Ice Beam, and he's able to get rid of Nidoqueen's item. So, I mean, knockoff was just such an obvious no drawback play in that situation that, I mean, I'm gonna have my Lottie get knocked down really low to where even hazards will kill it, and now I'm just gonna scout out for the Ice Shard and switch out my Latios. But at that point, like, I really should have recognized that Donphan had really bad 4 move slot syndrome in this game, like between Stealth Rock, Knockoff, Rapid Spin, Earthquake. I mean, all of those are very important moves. I did not think, or even like Toxic or something for my Porygon 2. I thought that there were enough moves that he probably did not have the ability to run Ice Shard, as it really only helped for my Latios, and he had a Klefki that could come in on that all the time. So letting Latios not only take the damage, but not even try to stay in and roost up was a very bad misplay, because, I mean, even if he did have Ice Shard, well, boom, that's one slot that Donphan doesn't have, and is something that I can work around with that information. But as you will see, now that Latios is dead to rocks, I have to find a great situation to try to bring that thing in and get it to, and roost up on something, but that's not going to be an easy task. I'm going to go into my Mawile, like I said, scouting out the Ice Shard, as he does make the switch into his Klefki. And instead of going for a Fire Fang, I'm just going to go for a knockoff, as, like I said, this thing is more than likely Light Clay, as it does reveal to be, and we want to limit the amount of turns that he does have. Now, I finally make a decent play in this game and go for another knockoff, as Donphan's Eye of Papa Berry is finally gotten rid of. And this is a situation where I end up going into my Porygon 2 to try to get up a Trick Room, but once again, I make a horrible, horrible play around my Latios by not bringing it in here, because he was either going to go for Rocks with his Donphan right here, or he was going to go for an Earthquake. Knockoff was not going to be the play that he made right there, just because Mawile's such a huge threat. And even if you, like, he would either get up rocks and let the Donphan go down to Mawile, which essentially kills my Latios, or by going for Earthquake, he gets rid of Mawile, which is a huge threat. And as you will see, because I don't bring in my Latios, he's able to get up the rocks, and Latios is dead. So by turn 11, I lose an incredibly, incredibly important mon to... I lose an incredibly important mon to my strategy this game. Like, I just played so ridiculously stupidly with my Latios. Like, that is completely on me. Guinness is catching me at every single possible play, and yeah, this is just not looking very good at all. But I am bringing my Porygon 2 in, and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I have to start putting on some pressure. So I'm going to go for the Trick Room. He's going to have at least a Rock and a Spike up this game, and that will be here to stay. And then I'm going to switch into my Victini to finally put some pressure, because with the Klefki in, there is no pressure that my Porygon 2 can put on this Klefki. So I'm going to go into my Victini, something that can put on pressure, even through Reflect, and hopefully do something. He goes into a low Momola. As I take Rocky Helmet damage, he's in for free behind a Reflect. Victini isn't going to do crap to him, and quite frankly, this game is looking like it is going to be a wrap really, really quickly. So now I'm going to go into my Conch to hopefully just like Drain Punch repeatedly, try to pressure a little bit more, maybe get some residual damage, like spread around some damage on his team, because as you can see, Klefki is damaged. It has no item anymore. Donphan is basically dead on entry. Necrozma is annoying, but I mean, hopefully I can deal with it potentially. I mean, my main way of dealing with it is dead to rocks, and there's no way that Latios is going to be able to switch in. Like, the fact that he brought Donphan tells me that that thing has Rapid Spin. He's not going to have Rapid Spin on a Defog Klefki with spikes. So yeah, I mean, if you're going to bring Spike Stack, you're going to bring a Rapid Spinner. And so, yeah, Latios is dead. My main way of dealing with Necrozma is gone. So I'm just in a horrible situation. But what I can do is go for the knockoff. I either get rid of Aloma Mola's Rocky Helmet, or I get rid of the incoming Necrozma's Rocky Helmet, which is nice, means that V-Creates and Play Roughs are more spammable later in the game, but he does receive the Wish from the Aloma Mola. And this Necrozma is in. My Trick Room wears out, and I'm just like, well, alright, Latios, you were meant to deal with this Necrozma, so go ahead and get on in there and just go ahead and die. So Necrozma goes for a Photon Geyser, and I'm just thinking, alright, P2, you are my only hope, because in this situation, Klefki, as we've seen, does not have any recovery. Like, my only out in this game at this point is to have Porygon 2 basically stall his team into oblivion, because with the Toxic Spike, I have a very good chance to stall things out. Like, Klefki, if it comes in, doesn't look like it has Toxic. Necrozma doesn't look like it has Toxic either, based on its moveset and what it has gone for so far. I'm thinking that its last move has to be Heat Wave for the Mega Mawile. Donphan is dead to any Tri-Attack, and even though Lopunny's an issue, I still have my Nidoqueen at a good amount of health with a Citrus Berry for that thing, as well as potentially Mawile and Conkeldurr for that too. So really, all my eggs are in the Porygon 2 basket at this point. I have to have this thing come in, stall Necrozma out of its Moonlights, because if I can wear that thing down, then all of a sudden, if Necrozma's gone, that opens a huge door for Conkeldurr to Drain Punch spam under Trick Room, and if I can get Conk at a high amount of HP, then I will have a good chance to win the game, because if Superior comes in, I can live the Leaf Storm, Drain Punch that, Lop is knocked out from full, Donphan is knocked out with a Mach Punch, and then Klefki and Aloma Mola are both Drain Punch fodder. So that's going to be my MO for the rest of this game. Go into my Porygon 2, I trace the Prism Armor, not really going to come into play, as I am just going to eat the hit from the Necrozma and go for a Trick Room to try to stall this out a little bit, just wear the Necrozma down, get rid of its Moonlights, as that's my only chance really to take that thing down, just because Necrozma is so ridiculously bulky. So that's really what these next couple turns entail, and the fact that Klefki does not have leftovers is really, really going to play in my favor, because, I mean, Tri-Attack does a decent chunk, as you can see, but luckily Moonlight only has 8 PP, so I really have to prey off that. And Klefki, even though it's a Spadef variant, even though it's not going to take crap from Tri-Attack, that's still chip that it is not getting back unless Aloma Mola comes in, and if Aloe comes in, then I can Tri-Attack, Poison, Tri-Attack Poison as he wishes again, and then Aloe will be very low. So again, I just have to rely on P2 to wear down his team at this point. Necrozma is at 60% as he goes into Klefki on my Trick Room, and that's that's ultimately pretty fine with me. As Klefki comes in, I know it has dual screens, it has spikes, it probably has a fairy attack for Latios, so I'm going to pull the switch into my Mawile, as I'm pretty sure he was just going to go for the light screen first to reduce the pitiful damage that Porygon 2 does to the Klefki to even more minuscule level, so I was kind of fishing for a burn in that case to help with the residual. But he goes into a low Momola as I'm going to get up my rocks, put up a little more pressure, and hopefully change some of the rolls that can potentially go in my favor, or maybe change them from in his favor to in my favor. Aloe comes in. I'm going to go straight for the knockoff as I get rid of his Rocky Helmet. So now Aloe and Necrozma neither have Rocky Helmet, so V-Create spam is suddenly looking really, really good against his team, as I do have Bolt Strike for the Aloe. And he throws up a Wish and then protects. I mean, I'm just going to spam play rough at this point. Like, Necrozma, if he's a defensive set, I need a high roll to take him out at this point. But Aloe, if I can just spam play rough, in conjunction with the poison, it is doing just over 50%, so I will be able to come out on top eventually and hopefully stall him out. And he's going to try to pull the switch into his Necrozma, as I am going to catch that thing with a play rough, and unfortunately I get a crit. Now, that only mattered if well, I mean, I'll be honest, it probably mattered given the situation, because I think I needed near max, a near max roll to knock out Necrozma with play rough from that range. But I mean, it was still, I mean, it had the potential to not matter, but either way, I get a crit, Necrozma goes down. That is really unfortunate. I'm sorry, Guinness, for that. That's very big if I would not have taken out the Necrozma at that point. But this does give him a free switch into his Mega Lopunny. That thing takes rocks, that thing takes poison, and now my Nidoqueen is a free switch in. I have the Citrus Berries still intact. I'm going to go straight into that thing, take whatever hit the Mega Lop wants to go for as he goes for the high jump kick. That does nothing, and now I will be able to fire off a free Earth Power on this Lop as he goes for a turn. I will live that very easily, pop my Citrus Berry, and now Earth Power will hopefully put Lop in range of another poison. Unfortunately, it does not. I mean, that's what you get from an uninvested Nidoqueen. And now so this was an interesting situation. I was thinking about pulling the switch into my Mawile at that point, because if Lop just went for return, well, then it's still, after the poison and the poison next turn that it gets from knocking out my Mawile, it will be knocked out and I have a free switch in. His play was probably to go, which he does, is to go into Donphan, sack that off, and now start putting on the pressure with Serperior, because this is a free Leaf Storm, this is a free boost for him. So this is starting to look pretty rough, but what I was saying is I should have gone Mawile there. I thought about, okay, Nidoqueen isn't doing a whole lot, but it could do just enough later in the game that, like, I don't know, basically I felt that Nidoqueen was not worth saving. I know that that kind of contradicted what I literally just said, but basically, even though I could have gone Mawile and kind of prevented this free Leaf Storm from Serperior right here, I make another misplay. I mean, just tally those up. Like, I think that's 4 misplays up to this point. So I make another bad play, leave my Nidoqueen in as he knocks out the Donphan. I should have known, like, I did know that he was going to, a potential play would be to sack something off to get a free Leaf Storm with Serperior, but I did not act on it. He's able to take advantage of that. Serp is able to come in, get a free Leaf Storm, knock out my Nidoqueen, a free +2, and it is all on Porygon 2 at this point to be able to live a +2 Leaf Storm from 56% and be able to Trick Room up. Because if I can Trick Room up, I have a chance. Like, Conkeldurr is looking really, really good at this point. But he does actually end up Leech Seeding me, which I was like, huh, that is a very annoying play to have to deal with, because if he didn't Leech Seed me, then all I'd have to do is just try to get the Serperior into range of Conkeldurr's Mach Punch, and then basically I win the game. Like, plain and simple, Conkeldurr can win the game. Mach Punch kills everything. Lop can come in and fake out, but then, like, Drain Punch, and it can only come in so many times and fake out, because actually it can come in one more time and fake out, because Poison plus Rocks will kill it. So Conkeldurr will be able to win the game if I'm able to get Serperior below 50% at any point. But Leech Seed is a very good play. Keep Serperior at a high amount of health, and now I'm forced to just sack off my Mega Maw, because if he wanted to try to make a play of switching into, like, Aloe or something, then that would have been great. But otherwise, now Serp isn't even in range. Because of that Leech Seed, Serp isn't in range of my Conkeldur's Drain Punch, so I'm forced to go into Victini because that's the only thing that's left that has a chance of knocking out the Superior. Now here is a very, very, very crucial turn in the game. In fact, this is the turn that decides the game. Victini is in against Superior, Alomomola, Klefki, and Lopunny. Like I said, Conkeldurr is still at about, I mean, it's right about like 59.1%, I think it was. Like, Conk, because of the poison and the stealth rocks up, Conkeldurr will be able to win the game because the damage from Lopunny fake out will not be sufficient in order to make Conkeldurr go down to his own burn, because burn only does 6% per turn. I'll be able to Mach Punch that thing, I'll be able to Drain Punch the Superior, Drain Punch Klefki, Drain Punch Alomomola, and win the game from there. However, with Victini in, I was so dead set on thinking that, okay, if I can get Superior low, then I will be able to win the game, that I just clicked V-Create without a second thought. At the last second, I was like, wait, no, he's going to sack Alomomola, and if I go into Conkeldurr and Drain Punch the Alomomola, well, then suddenly Conkeldurr just wins the game at that point, because, like I said, I'll be at enough HP to where I can take Leaf Storm from Superior, and I will be able to Drain Punch my way through his team and win the game. So I tried to cancel. I tried to cancel it, but unfortunately I just did not see it in time, as he does pull the switch into his Alomomola, and I am going to 2-hit KO that thing with the V-Create into Bolt Strike. And you might be thinking, why didn't I go to Conkeldurr here? Well, that's because he would have been able to throw a Wish off, and I would have had to go into Conk and Drain Punch. And yeah, just basically it wouldn't have been as good of a situation. Like, Alomomola still would have gone down, I would have been able to recover HP. And at this point, he will win the game because Lop will be able to, Lop will be able to fake out my Victini. The only chance I had was if he potentially did not have fake out and Victini was able to knock out the Lop with the Bolt Strike, and for whatever reason, well, actually not for whatever reason, but a -1 Leaf Storm potentially wouldn't have killed from 40%, which is what my Victini would have been at. So unfortunately, he does have the fake out, and so at this point it will just be cleanup. It will just be cleanup for his Superior. Lop will knock me out, and yeah, as you can see, he goes for fake out. And I was like, what? Like, I couldn't understand why he went for fake out. I thought he just misclicked, as I'm able to set up a Trick Room once again. But as it turned out, he didn't realize that Victini had Trick Room, or he didn't think that Victini had Trick Room. And so his goal was to get up the free +2 with Superior, which he thought was his only chance to knock out Porygon 2 from this range. However, what he didn't realize is that Porygon 2 was completely in range of a neutral Leaf Storm from there. Porygon 2 was 100% in range. After Rocks and Spikes, it would have been at about 17%. Superior's Leaf Storm does minimum 20. And yeah, I mean, he had the game. He just didn't realize that Porygon 2 was in range, or he miscalced or something with Superior's Leaf Storm, and Victini will be able to clean up the game with V-Create. So I mean, like, no two ways about it. I played horribly, and I deserve to lose this game, but unfortunately, that's when you're playing as balls-to-the-wall offense as I am, with as many hard hitters, a single missed turn, like the one that Eoin had right there, like a single miscalc leads to losing the game, which he does end up doing in this situation. So I mean, like, bottom line, in my opinion, Guinness outplayed me the entire way. I think that my prep was completely on point, and all the situations that I prepped for did arise. I just misplayed horribly, and fortunately for me, Balls to the Wall Trick Room had enough firepower to, even with my misplays, win the game. So I mean, Guinness, that was one heck of a game. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I'm going to try to do better next time. I mean, this is one of those games that's like, that afterwards, like, you take the win. You always take the win, but you're just really frustrated with yourself because you're just seeing how poorly you played. And, I mean, again, you feel like you don't deserve it, but you still take the win because a win is a win. So, hope you guys nonetheless enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.